Hey there, I'm Nash Riker, and welcome to GetPublicity.net. Listen, if you're an entrepreneur, a coach, a consultant, a speaker, an author, a holistic practitioner, really anyone who has a valuable message or product or service that you really passionately want to share with the world and reach more people with so that you can touch more lives, make a bigger impact in this world, and also so you can increase your own profits and revenue so you can achieve your own dreams and goals in your life. And if you're looking for the best, most effective, most powerful way to communicate that message and what you have to offer, then what I want to do is open you up to a whole new world of possibility that you probably, as of right now, don't even know is available to you. And what I'm speaking about is the world of publicity, mass media publicity, where you basically leverage the existing influence of other people and other companies in order to communicate your message to their captive audience that they have, and of course win them over to what you have to offer so that you can benefit them in some way. And so if you've ever wondered how some of the top most successful people in their field have gotten to that point, people like Dr. Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, the list goes on and on and on. There's so many people out there who now have influence over millions of people. They have a positive impact in the lives of literally millions of people around the world, and they're making a huge impact on humanity. How did they get to that point though? Well, it didn't just happen automatically. What they did is they leveraged the influence of the mass media that's out there, and they positioned themselves as an expert in these media outlets and was able to communicate their message to the audiences of hundreds of thousands and millions of people that are out there waiting to hear from interesting people who have valuable things to say. And so what I'm going to do here in just a minute is introduce you to a guy named Dan Janal, and you're going to get to watch an interview between us where he's going to demystify a lot of the myths surrounding getting media publicity, because a lot of people, they don't take any steps towards getting this kind of publicity and getting their message out there in a big way because they think that it's out of their reach. They think that you have to already be successful or famous before you can start getting featured in newspapers and magazines and radio and TV. But that is absolutely not the case. And we're going to actually pave the way for you to actually make that happen in your own business so that you can achieve the goals you want, so that you can reach the people that you want, so that you can have the impact on the world that you want, and you can radically transform your life and your business virtually overnight in some cases. So stay tuned here and watch this interview with Dan Janal as he shares with you how this opportunity is available to you right now if you really want to get your message out there in a big way, if you really want to take your business and your life and your impact in the world to a whole new level. And it's really going to open your eyes to what's possible and how you really can be playing a bigger game and really making your dreams come true a lot faster than you could otherwise. And then what I want you to do is, after the interview, click on the button right below this video and you'll be taken over to a page that's going to show you a step-by-step comprehensive training course that you can get access to that's actually going to teach you what you need and give you the tools and resources and connections that you need to actually make this a reality in your life. So think about how your life would change if you could get featured in these major publications, major news, talk shows, radio, and all these other media outlets that are looking every day for new and exciting and interesting people to fill their airtime or fill their space and communicate their message to their audience. So with that, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate what you're doing in the world, and I appreciate the fact that you want to get your message out there so that you can have a bigger impact and you can change more lives. I'm Nash Riker. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome everyone. My name is Nash Riker with GetPublicity.net, and you are about to experience an exclusive interview with one of the top leading authorities in the world of media relations and publicity. His name is Dan Janal from PRLeads.com, and I am sure that what he's going to be sharing with us today is going to really open your eyes to a whole new world of possibility as far as what you really can do to spread your message in a much bigger way, help more people, skyrocket your income and just really make a bigger impact in the world by applying what he's going to be talking about here. And so, Dan, welcome to the call, buddy. I appreciate you being here. How are you, my friend?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Nash. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good deal, man. Well, this is going to be really fun. Let's rock and roll. Dan, can you start off by giving us a quick introduction, who you are, what you do, some of the people that you help, and how you help them?
Sure, that's great. I've been in the PR and journalism world for more than 30 years. I worked for daily newspapers as an award-winning newspaper reporter and business news editor, so I know what goes on inside a newsroom. Then I joined a PR firm in the early 1980s at the beginning of the computer era. So I worked with companies that were literally brand names at their time, companies like K-Pro, Commodore, that launched America Online. And way back in 1994, I wrote one of the first books about marketing on the internet. That's back when Al Gore and I were like the only people online. So that book has been translated to 6 languages, and I've spoken literally around the world, from Beijing to Budapest, all across Canada, the United States, Mexico, Rio de Janeiro, Europe. It's been a wild and crazy ride, and that led me to today's situation where I help experts and people who have something to say get publicity. And I do that in a couple of different ways, with press releases, with media databases, and with my PR lead service, where I put experts and people who have something to say in touch with reporters who are looking to write articles and need to interview experts. So that's the short version. I'm sure I'll get into a little bit more detail as the interview goes on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right on, right on. Well, that's really exciting. Let's go ahead and start off with the basics real quick. For a lot of those out there that don't really fully grasp the idea of publicity, media relations, what exactly is that, and how does it apply to entrepreneurs?
Sure. Maybe the best way to talk about what PR is to describe what PR isn't. PR isn't advertising. With advertising, you pay for your spot in a newspaper or television or radio, and people see it as a distraction, and they generally don't like it, except after they see it 20 times or 100 times or 100,000 times, then they get off their butts and they buy it. So advertising works, but it takes a long time, is very expensive, and has very low credibility. On the other hand, publicity is what reporters write about you, and it is seen as extremely credible. People believe what they read in newspapers. How many times have you gone to a restaurant because you read a review about that restaurant, or seen a movie, or watched a TV show, or bought a product because you saw a review or an article about that product? So that's why publicity works. In fact, that's why I call my company PR Leads, because PR is really the first thing you should do, PR Leads, and then advertising and direct mail and everything else follows up, and it builds on the publicity that you create. So publicity is really a marketing tool to build your credibility and your visibility, so it makes it easier for people to buy from you because they know you and trust you.
Nice. That's really excellent. And from what I understand, the exposure that you get in media publicity is actually it's way more valuable than traditional advertising, right? Because of the credibility that comes with it. I've heard up to 10 times as valuable as what you would pay for advertising for the same kind of exposure, just because you get it's like an implied endorsement by the media source. Is that accurate?
That's very true. You know, Shakespeare said, "The hand that bears the rose retains the scent." And I take that to mean that when reporters extend to you their credibility, it still retains with you. In fact, when Jack Canfield is introduced from the stage, he's introduced as Time magazine called Jack Canfield the co-creator of the publishing phenomenon of the decade. And of course, we all know that Jack Canfield was the co-creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. He needs no introduction to us. He sold 45 billion copies of his books. I mean, more than all of us put together will ever sell in our lifetimes. Yet, even with all that credibility, when he's introduced to a new audience, he goes back to Time magazine and uses their credibility to build him up first. So I think there's a lesson in there for all of us.
Yeah, certainly. And you know, it definitely adds a new level of trust. You know, whenever I go on somebody's website, It doesn't matter what they're promoting or selling. If I see logos from media outlets and other credible sources, immediately their credibility in my mind increases, and the trust level and all of that increases. And so if I had to choose between, two different service providers, and one of them had these logos all over their website as seen in or as featured in, it immediately would shift my perspective and lead me to contact the one with more credibility. Is that usually what happens?
That is so true. We like to think we're unique, and we like to think we're the only ones doing what we do. But the truth of the matter is that we're all very, very similar. I'm going to throw out a bunch of credentials here. It probably applies to most people online, so I don't want to offend people if this doesn't apply, but it probably will. Okay, we've all gone to college. Some of us have advanced degrees. Some of us even have PhDs. Most of us have written college, has a couple of degrees, written some books, worked for some good companies, but so has she. So what separates the two? Well, it very well may be that you have media credentials and she doesn't. So that may be a defining characteristic. So that's another reason to never stop marketing and to always get more and more publicity to help you stand out from your competitors.
Powerful, man. Let's talk about this, because everyone watching this is in a position where they don't have media exposure. They don't have that type of credibility that you're talking about, but they probably would like to. Most people would really enjoy, having that kind of those kind of credentials and being able to get that kind of massive exposure. But a lot of people don't pursue that, though. And can we talk about why that is? What is it really that stops people from pursuing that? I know there's some myths out there that really just stop people in their tracks and keep them from really being able to live up to their full potential as far as this goes. So can we talk about some of that?
Sure. Yeah, there are a bunch of myths. I'm really glad you brought that up, because myth number one is like, the media doesn't want to talk to me. I mean, I know my stuff, but Professor Smith at Harvard knows a lot more about this than I do. And the truth of the matter is that it's never been easier to get publicity, because there are so many more media outlets available now, whether it be online or in print or on TV or on the web, and they're looking for experts, people who have something interesting and different to say. And if you're in front of them, they're going to quote you, because reporters are lazy. This is not a myth. This is a truth. Reporters have a lot of work to do. They have a very limited amount of time to do it in. They have to meet their deadlines and get on to write their story and then write their next story lickety-split. So if you're in front of them and they know that you're alive, chances are you're going to get quoted because you have something interesting and different to say. And let me underscore that. If you say the same old stuff, maybe not. But if you have something interesting and different to say, and you have some degree of credibility, there's every good chance that reporters will want to interview you. And chances are they can't speak to Professor Smith anyway, because he's teaching a seminar and his secretary won't let anyone get through to him. And, so he's out of the ballpark. So that's myth number one. You can get publicity if you know your stuff and you have something interesting and different to say. You don't have to be the number one person in your profession. You just have to know your stuff.
Wonderful. That's really good to hear. That's very refreshing. What are some other myths that you can think of that stop people?
Okay. Another myth is that, I don't know how to contact reporters. And that's a myth, because today there are many, many ways to get in touch with reporters. My service alone, PR Leads, we get leads from reporters every single day. These are reporters who say, hey, I'm writing a story about this topic and I need to speak to someone about it right now. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's my deadline. Here's my email address. Send me some ideas. And if you do, there's a good chance you're going to be quoted. So we've been doing that for 13 years. This is our 13th anniversary, as a matter of fact. We really pioneered this whole industry. There are some competitors that we have now, and I'm sure some of your people have used them or know about them, and that's cool too. Everyone has competitors, but we started it. So nice. We have the biggest names and the best names in the industry. So that's number one. But also, if you're active on Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn, you can find reporters. if you also, I'd suggest, because they're all there.
Hmm.
They're all there. So become their best friend and just read what they're writing about and comment about what they're writing about, and chances are they'll begin to know who you are. Also, if you're reading their newspaper articles or their magazine columns or their blogs, subscribe. They want to get feedback on their articles. So if you start posting to the comment section online on their websites or in their social media sites, chances are they'll get to know you, because a lot of people don't respond and a lot of people don't offer opinions. A lot of people lurk. So if you raise your hand and say, hey, that was a great article and here's some more information and I'll be happy to help you on any future articles, there's a good chance that they will. So that dispels another myth. Reporters are looking for you. In fact, that's the name of a book I wrote, and it's available for a very, very small amount of money. Reporters are looking for you. That should be your new mantra.
Cool, man. I love it. And let me ask you this. Well, you know what? Let's keep going down this track here. I'd like to talk about some more myths, because I think that there's so many people out there that have so much to offer the world. They have a great message. They have great services or products. They want to get more eyeballs to it, and and they don't know what to do next. So can we talk about some more myths that you can think of? Are there anything else that come to mind?
Sure. I think you just hit on a good myth there. They don't know what to say. Mm. And that may not be a myth. You may not know what to say. You may have written a book or several books, and you have hundreds of pages of things you could say, but when it comes right down to giving them that sound bite and that one sentence or that 7 seconds to put on the air, you may not know what to say. So in that case, I'd suggest you hire a media coach. And I know you're going to be talking to Susan Harrow in this series, and she's one of the finest media coaches around. So if you want to get trained on how to talk to the electronic media, whether it's radio or TV, there's no one better than Susan Harrow. I help my clients with talking to the print media. I don't have any background in TV, so I don't go there. And I think it's important for people to say what they can do and what they can't do, and to admit that right up front, because you don't want to hire someone and find out they can't do what they can't do. Right. So Susan is great for TV, and I'm great for print. So you can figure out what to say. In fact, it's people like us who are on the outside who can look at your body of work and say, okay, this stands out, this is really interesting, this is different, this is new, this is what's going to sell, and that's old, and don't say it. So it's nice to get an outside opinion about what to say to the media. So media training is very important. Nice.
All right. And we'll get into in a minute here. I want to talk about maybe some tips and advice you have on constructing press releases, or how to utilize like your service, PR leads, any of these reporter services, and how we can really connect with reporters the best way, like what they're looking for and that kind of thing. But first, let me ask. I've heard of this, like there's like a snowball effect that happens where you start getting a couple features in some media sources, you start getting some mentions, you start getting some interviews, and next thing you know, it starts opening the door to more and more opportunities. Is that how it happens? Does it get easier and easier to get more media publicity once you start getting your foot in the door?
Exactly. You have to get started, and you may start locally. Start with your local hometown newspaper, television station, radio station. In fact, you don't want to appear on Oprah the very first day because you're not ready. You don't know what it's like to sit in front of a television camera and have 500 people in the audience looking at you, and to have all these hot lights from the cameras looking down at you, and to have someone like Oprah, who's famous, being like 3 inches from your face and talking to you. That's kind of scary. I mean, it's great, but it's also kind of scary. You don't want that to be your first time out of the gate. So start small, and you'll be surprised, because reporters like to follow trends. In fact, if you see social media today, it's all about trending. It's like, what's trending now? So trending really is. It's one person hears it, they like it, they write about it, they tell other people, they write about it, and then they write about it, and more people write about it, and before you know it, then you're on Oprah. So it's a great way to build grassroots, to start from the bottom and go up, which is perfectly fine. I mean, of course, it's great to start in the middle and go up too. So with a service like PR Leads, you might find yourself in, the Washington Post or the Harvard Business Review or the New York Times or an important trade publication as well. So it's okay to start there too. But don't overlook the easy, low-hanging fruit, which would be your local media.
Nice. All right. So let's then get into the best methods for really connecting with the media and reporters. Like, can you talk about some preliminary things that people need to have in place? Is there anything specific that reporters are looking for? Do they get on the person's website and check out if they already have media mentions? Is there anything specific about their website that they should have in place before they start reaching out to reporters?
Well, that's a great question, because reporters are looking for people in a number of places. They could use a service like ours, like PR Leads. But I've had another client just last week tell me that he got a call from his Boston Fox television station. They Googled, they want to do an article or a TV segment on elder care and caregivers in the Boston area. They typed, Boston caregiving experts, and that's the exact part of a headline that we wrote for my client like a year ago, and it was reprinted in the Wall Street Journal. So when the reporter went to Google and looked for Boston elder care experts, up popped this Wall Street Journal copy of a press release that we wrote for our client, and the next thing you know, he's on television. So I blogged about that. So if you go to my website, you can read the blog post and actually click through and see the interview. He did a great job. So reporters are looking at Amazon for experts. They're looking at Google for experts. Then they drill down. They go to your website, and they might have found you on LinkedIn too. They'll go to your website to see a little bit more about you, to see that you really are credible. So you might want to have articles that you've written. You might want to, obviously you probably have blogs as well. So that would show a little bit about what you do and your view of the world. You could have a media page where you list all the places you've been quoted. The media page can also have questions that you like to be asked, because frankly, the radio guys, they don't know what questions to ask. So they might interview 5 or 10 people a day. So I mean, they go through a lot of people. They don't have time to read everyone's book. So they'll go to your website, or they'll ask you to send them a list of questions that they can at least start to have a conversation with, and then they can go off in any direction. So you might want to have 10 questions to ask about your topic or your book or your service. So that's always good. If you have any quotes from reporters, that's good. So like, Joe was a great interview. He arrived on time, and he was bright, and we really liked working with him. That's always good. Reporters may not give you that information, but if you do, that's cool. And if you have links to video clips where you've been on TV, that's good. That way reporters will know that you're not like this deer stuck in front of the headlights, like when the lights went on, that you can talk and be pleasant and answer a question in front of a live camera and give a good interview. So those are some of the basics. Also, for marketing purposes, I like to have a call to action on my websites too. So you might want to have a special report. And a special report can be an article. You have like 10 ways to, then fill in the blanks, 10 ways to reduce stress, 10 ways to find a doctor, 10 questions to ask before you do whatever. And have people sign up for that, so you get their name, their email address, they get the report, you get another name for your mailing list, and then you can start marketing to those people and build relationships with them. So I think those are some of the essential parts of a website. Of course, you could have a lot more, and I'm only touching the surface here, but I think some of those from the media are important.
All right. Can we talk more about like your service and how this process works? I think it's really powerful that you have like a centralized location where these reporters come to. If I'm brand new to all this, and I get on your site, what would the process be for me? How, and how would I go about getting in touch with them?
Okay, great. I'm glad you asked that, and thanks for the free plug. I appreciate it. But
Sure.
This is really education, isn't it? So the company's called PR Leads, and it's prleads.com, and basically it's a subscription service. If you like it, you sign up for a month, and we'll renew you every month. If you don't like it, you quit. Simple as that. So there are no long-term contracts, nothing to tie you down. It's all very easy. And when you sign up, you tell us what topics you're interested in. So it could be medicine, it could be stress, it could be mental health, it could be careers, it could be parenting or relationships. We're really strong in a lot of those areas. It could be business topics too. And then every day we get leads from reporters. When we see a lead that matches your interests, we send it to you by email. And then you'll see the reporter's name, the publication they work for, and their contact information. And you respond to them. And when you sign for the service, I teach you how to respond. And I also give feedback. So you send me your responses to reporters as well, and I give you instant feedback on how to improve it. And frankly, that's one of the key things that separate us from our competitors, because no one else gives any kind of feedback or training or support. They just might send out the leads, but then you're stuck. You don't know, gee, did I answer it the right way? Did I go on too long? Did I give them enough information? So I really hold your hand and walk you through it. So that's the PR lead service, and it's only $99 a month. And again, I've had people literally for 12 years straight. I've had people come for a month and say, this isn't for me. So if it works, it works. But this is the best way of getting publicity, because it really is capturing the low-hanging fruit. When you get a lead from me, you know two things. Number one, the reporter is definitely writing a story about this topic right now. And number two, they don't know who to talk to. So by putting your name in the hopper, you're going to jump ahead of Professor Smith at Harvard, because he's not my client. So you get the interview.
Cool, man. And yeah, I mean, even just one feature in an article would pay for itself, I would imagine, with just the credibility alone, and then also the exposure that they get, you know?
Yeah, it really does. Thank you very much. You know, another way that we can help our clients get publicity is with our press release service, because we're the only ones that guarantee that press releases will be printed on media websites. There are a lot of other services out there that promise to distribute your press release to the media, but that's like throwing a snowball against the side of a building. You know, anyone can do that. But to actually get a reporter or have the media print the press release word for word and include the links, and then have Google index that press release and post it on its search results, that's a totally different ball game, and that's where we really excel. In fact, we guarantee that our clients will have at least 100 printings of their press release on 100 media websites within 24 hours, or we'll give you your money back. It's as simple as that. And these are credible media sites. These are daily newspapers, these are business journals, these are wire services like Reuters and Yahoo Finance, these are television stations that have websites, you know, places you'd be proud to have your stuff printed in. There are probably people on the line who've used these other cut rate press release distribution services that really go to nowhere, like places in India, and it's like, what is this? And you're ashamed, and you say, I think I wasted my money. Yeah. So that site is called pressreleasesender.com. Once again, pressreleasesender.com. And we have 3 levels of service. So if you have absolutely no idea what to do, I can do the whole thing for you, and the prices are on the website. If you are pretty good, I mean, if you might be a PR person, your sister-in-law might be a PR person. If they write a press release, that's great. You can take advantage of our discounts with PR Newswire, which is the best press release distribution service. And since we buy in bulk from them, we can pass along our savings to you. So we can literally save you about half of what PR Newswire charges. And we have a third option. So let's say you have some background material, like you've written a book. I can take your book cover and turn that into a press release with the information from your back of the book, rather, not the front of the book, but the back of the book. Or you might have written an article, like a how-to article. I can turn that into a press release. Or you might have an opinion piece about how to deliver better customer service. I can turn that into a press release and make it show up high on Google too. So those are the main services that we offer. Plus, of course, I do consulting and coaching. So if you don't have a clue of what to do, you might want to talk to me just to figure out a plan.
Yeah, right on, man. You definitely know your stuff for sure. You're one of the best in the industry. And I can vouch for that, the press release service. You'd sent me over an example of one, and I was blown away at all of the news sites that it was picked up on and printed on. It was actually posted on their websites, and you can click right through and see it right there on their website. And a lot of these sites get, tens of thousands of visitors a day, some of them 100,000 visitors or more a day. Really powerful, and I can relate to the shady PR services out there. I've paid for press release distribution before and never have gotten a return on my money, and really was just really disappointed in the whole process. So it's very refreshing to see that there's something out there that actually gets real results. Now, let me ask you, when a press release gets distributed like what you do and actually posted on these news sites, can we then take the logo from that site and say we've been featured on this site? Is that something that we can do to add to our credibility?
You could certainly take the press releases and put them in all of your sales materials. You can put them in your new business proposals. You can put them in your book proposals. You can put them on your speaker site, on your consulting site. I've spoken to lawyers about the actual use of the logos, and they say it's okay. I mean, check with your lawyer, of course. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give legal advice. But you see it happening every single day on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different sites. I think the media just doesn't care anymore. You know, they're okay. Now, I'm saying that with very veiled references. You know, you don't want to take anyone's uncopyrighted pictures, or copyrighted pictures rather, or logos from other companies or anything like that. So I don't want to open up a whole can of worms here about copyrights and whatever. But generally speaking, the logos that you get from our service seem to be totally usable on any website.
Cool. And can we talk about
so that
go ahead.
Can build your credibility. In fact, if you look there, I didn't hear you.
It was actually cutting out there, but go ahead though. Did you have some more to say about that?
I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
No,
I know what it was. Yeah. A lot of people who get publicity, they put it on their media page, which is nice, but it really should be on your front page too. So yes. A lot of people won't go past your front page. So you want to put your media mentions, as seen on your front page too. Maybe not all of them. That's not necessary, but some of the key ones, some of the big ones, to build the credibility, so that invites people to want to look further and deeper into your site. Nice. If you just bury it in your media section without saying anything on the front page, then people may not ever get to the media section. Good. And know that you've done great things.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great tip there, Dan. Do you have any, before we close this interview down here, we got a few more minutes, but I wanted to ask if you have any specific case study examples of maybe your clients or whatnot that have posted press releases or have gotten some kind of a big interview or something major that really was a turning point in their career, just because they took these steps to get into the media, connect with reporters, get press releases out there. Do you have any examples like that you could share?
Sure. Let me give you two examples. I gave you one with that Boston elder care guy, of course, but also there's a guy named Steve Jutton, who's a financial planner out in the Seattle area, and he wrote a press release. His wife is actually a PR person, and she wrote a press release. I modified it a little bit, and then we sent it over PR Newswire. He got interviewed by PBS on their Money show, and that led to a dramatic increase in the number of visits to his website and sign-ups for his newsletter, and turning into real clients. So if you work the PR as part of your marketing process, it really can deliver real results. Also, I know you're interviewing Patrick Snow later on in another episode, and Patrick is a client of PR Leads, and Patrick will tell you the story. I think he exaggerates a little bit, but he said he answered 100 PR Leads and didn't get a single interview, but on the 101st one, he got interviewed by USA Today, wound up on the front page of USA Today with a picture of himself and his family, long article, and that was one of the key turning points in his career. So I think he's joking about the 100 things. I think it's like Edison with the light bulb, the 10,000 things. Just makes for a really good story. But the point is, any one of these articles that appear in the right place can really make a big, big difference. And I'm sure there are lots of other stories from my clients who've gotten book proposals accepted. In fact, one of my clients got a larger advance for her book proposal. She said it was twice the industry average, because acquisition editors at publishing houses, they want to make sure that you can sell books. So if you can show them that you know how to play the publicity game, that you have gotten interviewed, they'll reward you by giving you more money, because they know that you're going to spend it in the right places. And use more publicity, more advertising, more marketing, and sell more books and sell more services. So publicity really does work.
Wonderful, Dan. It's really good to hear. Before we end this this interview here, man, is there any last parting words you'd like to share? You know, put yourself in the shoes of those out there that really desperately would love to get their message out there. What can you tell them about just diving into this world of publicity, media exposure, and just making it happen? What can you share?
Okay. Well, yeah, it's not as hard as it looks. You can do it, but you may need a coach to help you. You may want some services to help you. You may want to buy some resources and use them on your own. You don't necessarily need to hire a big, expensive PR firm. You can do a lot of this yourself with services like PR Leads and my press release service, and with some coaching. So don't spend a fortune on publicity until you know it's going to work. And then once you find the right formula, then go full hog and go really out on it, because it really does pay for itself in the long term and in the short term.
Powerful. All right, man. Well, listen, Dan, I really, really appreciate your time today. Lots of great wisdom, lots of nuggets, and you know, I really encourage anybody watching this to really just plunge into this world, because I tell you what, I found success story after success story, which you'll see more of them in the course that I'll be sharing with you. There's just so many people that have radically transformed their entire life, their entire business, by getting this media exposure that's out there for the taking. It's out there for anybody that's willing to follow the process, learn the skills needed, and just kind of learn how this whole thing works, and then get in there and just do it. And it could radically change your life, and it's going to get your message out there to a much larger audience than you ever could otherwise, and make a bigger impact in the world. And really, that's what we're all here to do. And so that's why I'm putting all this together, is really to help all of you, to empower you to get out there and really get your message known by the people that really need to hear it the most, the people that are going to benefit the most from what you have to offer them. So once again, Dan, hey, I appreciate you being here, my friend. I look forward to connecting with you again very soon. And with that, we'll go ahead and end it, and I'll talk to you again soon, buddy.
Thanks a lot for having me on. It's been a pleasure. Get publicity. It helps. It works.
All right.
PR Leads. Take care.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.